My sister, Sia, 25, used to have a friend, Faye, 24. Faye had a boyfriend named Brett, 25. Brett cheated on Faye with Sia, then left her for Sia. Faye was devastated, and it really tore their friend group apart. Faye transferred to an out-of-state college and has not been back since, from what I know. This was about 4 years ago. Now Sia and Brett are recently married, about 2 months, and that's where the issue comes in. Sia figured out how to get a hold of Faye and decided to invite her to the wedding. She said that she and Brett both missed Faye, as they had all been part of the same friend group through high school. She felt like this was her last chance to try and bring Faye back into her life. I, 19 female, told her from the get-go that I thought that was a bad idea and she should just leave Faye alone. She sent the invitation anyways, but got no response. It's relevant to mention that Sia and Brett could only afford a pretty modest wedding, so they held it on his parents' property. It was catered by a very basic, cheap local restaurant. Everything else was done by family and friends. The dress code was casual, which was mentioned on the invite, as Sia couldn't afford a very nice wedding gown. Shortly after the ceremony started, Faye walked in and quietly took a seat. To be frank, she looked amazing. She was in a lovely dress. It was a darker color and didn't look like a wedding dress, but was of noticeably better quality than Sia's dress. She's super tatted now. Tattoos are popular around here and are something Sia and Brett both like. After the ceremony, Faye stayed for about a half an hour talking to other guests, then left. I guess Sia tried to say hi to her, and she straight up snubbed her. It created quite a stir. How good she looked was a hot topic. Rather, the comments were positive, or people were saying it was trashy. She showed up like that. Quite a few of Sia and Brett's newer friends found out the circumstances of their coming together. Sia was pretty torn up about it at first, but she was heartbroken once she went through the pictures. Faye made it into a few, and because she was dressed so much nicer than everyone else, she really stood out. There's a picture of Sia and Brett where they look really nice together, but Faye is in the background. Sia says it would be her favorite picture. She's brought Faye up every time I've seen her since. Sia came over for a visit this weekend and started talking about Faye again. What a witch she was. Why couldn't she just not come? Who needs to ruin someone's wedding? It got to me, so I asked, what did you expect? You slept with her boyfriend before he decided to leave her for you. You haven't spoken in years, and out of nowhere you sent her a wedding invite? Who could pass up that opportunity for petty revenge? I don't think Sia's goal was to rub anything in Faye's face. From what I mentioned, Sia basically just never talked to Faye again after everything went down. I think this was a weird, convoluted attempt for Sia to ease some guilt. I think she felt that Faye just wouldn't respond, so she would be able to feel like she extended an olive branch and was ignored, therefore having done everything she could. It made Sia cry and she ended up leaving shortly after. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, because you warned her ahead of time it was a bad idea. And honestly, who invites their boyfriend's ex, who he cheated on and left for you, to their wedding? If Sia wanted to reconcile with Faye, she should have chosen literally any other way to reach out. I'm sure Faye thought Sia was being petty by sending the invite and decided to respond in kind. Besides, she, Faye, could have behaved much worse if she wanted to. I agree. What did Faye do? Go to a wedding she was invited to and showed by default that she's living her best life? How is anything wrong with that? And after being polite and talking with old friends, she did not cause a scene, just quietly slipped away. Way to take the high road, Faye. The sister is peeved at that. The sister played a stupid game with the invite and is jealous at the classy response of someone who she's terribly wronged. What did she expect? She should be grateful that Faye did not make a scene, as there would be many there who would think that was justified. You are not the idiot, OP. I don't know what else you could have said. She's an idiot. I don't know what else she possibly could have expected. I'm Team Faye all the way. She is apparently embodying the phrase, the best revenge is to live well. I am 34-year-old male, and my wife is 26. We have a beautiful little daughter, and earlier this year, we were blessed with another pregnancy. Unfortunately, there were complications in the pregnancy, and we lost the baby. However, my wife handled it with more grace, love, and compassion than I ever thought possible. She was so focused on comforting our daughter, who was heartbroken. We had already found out the gender of the baby, and although she didn't understand everything, she still understood that she was going to have a younger sister, that I don't think my wife fully processed the loss herself. Her parents live in a different country. I've met them a handful of times, but my wife isn't very close to her family. She left home very young and only sees them every once in a while. She always told me her mom was cruel as a child, and her father had been a negligent alcoholic. She told her parents about the pregnancy, but not about the loss. A few weeks ago, she got a phone call from her mother that they were coming to the country to stay with my wife's older sister for a few weeks, and they wanted to come visit us. When my in-laws arrived at our house, I was not home, I was at work, but my wife, who had taken a few days off for their visit, spent the entire day with them. They were supposed to stay over at our house for 2 days, but they weren't there by the time I arrived home. When I went in and asked my wife what happened, she wouldn't talk about it until our daughter went to sleep. Once she did, my wife burst into tears and told me that when her mother had found out about the loss, she scolded her, asking her what she had done wrong, insisting that she hadn't taken care of herself or the baby right. She went as far as to say my wife must not have been being a good mother to our daughter, so she had the baby taken from her. Needless to say, my wife told her parents to leave, and they're no longer welcome at our house. However, after this incident, I've noticed my wife has become very withdrawn and much quieter. I am worried that she's focusing on what her mother said and believes it. I have encouraged her to go to therapy, but due to a very bad experience with a therapist, not licensed, not a real therapist, when she was young, she's reluctant to seek help. I am trying my best to meet her needs and help her heal, but I'm worried that since I'm not a professional, I don't know how best to help her. I want to make her feel better the way she makes everyone else feel better, and I feel guilty that I cannot. I don't know if the quiet and withdrawn is so much about believing her mother, so much as losing her parents to being bad people so soon after losing your second child. Just be there for her, continue to support her, and make it clear that you think her parents were ridiculous. I completely agree with your guess, because my parents were the same way. Always negative, everything is always my fault, nothing is ever good enough to them. So when the last bad encounter happened, I was more in disbelief and distraught that my parents were so bad to me than the twist they said to me, which I know is not true. Give her as much support as possible. Ask her what she needs from you if she's willing to share. Try to sit down with her, debunk the things her mother told her, and really push for the therapy. Because this stems from trauma, it sounds like her mother was awful to her as a child, and she went low contact with them. And now I believe she needs to go no contact with them. No loving mother would tell their grieving daughter that it's her fault her daughter's baby died. Only a monster would do that. Background. When I was in school, I was a terrible student. I had teachers who genuinely believed I was illiterate, and I constantly acted out, not paying attention. I had no idea why I couldn't do anything well, so I fell in with a crowd that just didn't care. By the time I finished my classes, I was nearly an adult. I had gotten into herbs, and when my parents found out, I got kicked out because they didn't want that near my siblings. I don't blame them for that. I spent a few years on drugs and just sort of getting by, not really caring. Then finally, I got a sponsor to get sober and have been for almost 3 years now. An old friend helped me to get an apprenticeship to be a tattoo artist, and now I have a proper job and have a flat with a friend. So I'm pretty proud of what I've done from what I've come from. My family has reached out a couple of times to meet up now that I'm sober and in a better place, but global issue and other things stopped that. Recently, I had been encouraged by my flatmate to get an ADHD diagnosis since I fit a lot of the criteria. When I went to the GP, I was told that I had already been diagnosed with not just ADHD, but dyslexia and dyscalculia when I had been about 5. It was in my files and included what my parents had said and the support that I was supposed to get in school that I know I never got. I had the report printed out and arranged to meet with my family with it. When I met with them in their house, I pulled out the report and asked them why no one told me and no one helped me with it. They said that they trusted the school to do everything and it wasn't their responsibility. I told them that they should have told me and actually checked with the school that I was getting help since I was a little child and couldn't do it myself. We spiraled into an argument, and I yelled at them that they should have gotten me some help instead of just assuming that things would be fine since they very clearly weren't. My older brother texted me that I was an entitled piece of crap for only agreeing to meet with them so I could just yell at them for something that wasn't their fault, especially since I put our younger siblings in danger by bringing herbs into the house, and that was why I got kicked out in the first place. Am I the idiot here? Not the idiot. Something that wasn't their fault, especially since I put our younger siblings in danger? This made me very angry. It absolutely was their fault that you didn't get the help that you needed at school. It absolutely was their responsibility to check that you received the support that you were entitled to. It absolutely was their responsibility to know what was going on in your education. And all of this should have happened continuously since you were 5 years old, way before the herbs issue. Maybe if they'd done their job as parents, the herbs issue would not have happened. Then there would have been no issue with putting the younger siblings in danger. Your brother is an idiot. So are your parents. Not the idiot. What did your parents mean it's not my responsibility? It literally is. Schools are resources for sure, but you just can't turn off ADHD and dyslexia at home. It's an ongoing trial that you failed, only because your parents failed you. I am so sorry you had to deal with this. I'd be raving mad too. Not the idiot. Oh my God, sometimes I'm just astonished by the amount of audacity the idiot stories have. This makes the top of the list. Not their responsibility? I'm sorry, what else is their responsibility? Even if they thought that as parents, their only responsibility was providing food and shelter, they took zero responsibility for the second part by kicking you out when you weren't legally an adult yet. Just wow. I, male 33, have been working for a marketing company for a few months. It's a new job and I'm lucky to have gotten it after looking for quite some time. This guy, Guerra, works in the same department and spends plenty of time with the other coworkers and me. Everyone thinks he's funny, smart, and has a lovable character. To be fair, he's always been respectful. Still, he tends to be annoying at times, like how he insists I go out with him and the guys to drink, knowing I'm a recovering alcoholic, and how he always tries to get me to hang out with him and the guys outside of work when I'm busy with my wife's illness. She's currently dealing with a health condition, cancer, and she's been suffering a lot lately. Her family and I are devastated and overwhelmed, but we all do all we can to help her become better. But it doesn't look like she's getting any better. All my coworkers know about my wife's condition. However, Guerra is still constantly nagging me, guilting me, and accusing me of being too uptight whenever I turn down an invite from him. I talked to him about it and told him how his behavior makes me feel, and he apologized and wished me luck in dealing with my problems. My birthday was last week. Guerra pulled me aside at work and told me he was thinking of throwing a party for me in the department at 6. I politely apologized and said I already had plans to celebrate with my wife, as it might be my last birthday with her. I hope not, I really hope not, but life is unpredictable, and I think since it's my birthday, I get to decide how and with whom I spend it. He said it was fine and he understood. On my birthday, I went to work and got busy getting stuff done till 6 o'clock came. I grabbed my stuff and was about to go home when Guerra and the other coworkers showed up with cake, celebration toys, and drinks. I was confused. Guerra announced they were going to celebrate my birthday and expected me to stay. I pulled him aside and asked why he threw me a party, knowing I already declined since I had plans to be home with my wife for my birthday. He brushed me off and encouraged me to let loose and have some fun before going home since he was sure my wife wasn't capable of throwing me a proper party. I got so mad I lashed out at him and told him to stop disrespecting my boundaries with his attempts to override my decisions. He explained he did this because he cared. I walked out, leaving him complaining to everyone about how I mistreated him just for celebrating my birthday. That got the coworkers to text, saying I was being ungrateful and mean towards Guerra by lashing out and leaving like that. They asked why I don't like him and said I should apologize for being insensitive and upsetting Guerra when he was trying to do a nice thing for me. Not the idiot, and explain to all your colleagues why you lashed out. Calmly tell them that whilst you like Guerra, He's not listening to you about things you do or don't want to do, and ignoring the fact that after work, you actually want to spend time with your wife, who has cancer. Also, work does not have to be a social environment. It's nice for many if it is, but as long as you go in, do your job well, and don't cost the company money, that's the end of it. Not the idiot. To be fair, he's always been respectful. How? How has he been respectful? Because you sure are listing a lot of ways in which he's very much not being respectful. Constantly pressuring a recovering alcoholic to go out drinking, completely ignoring your feelings when you told him how his behavior is impacting you, overriding your wish to spend what may be a last birthday with a loved one. Jesus Christ, this guy is the worst. My boyfriend turned 21 last week, and I bought him a new video game he had been wanting and a t-shirt. He started ignoring me and leaving me on red after that. I asked him what was wrong. He finally said it was unfair that I got him birthday presents because now he will have to get something for my birthday and that I'm being manipulative. I told him, no, you don't have to get me anything for my birthday, but I'd like to spend some time with you that day. But he said it was an idiot move that I got him gifts. He says I was trying to make him feel obligated. I told him that it's the thought that counts and that he doesn't have to get me anything, but that if he does, I'd be happy with just a card. But he keeps saying he's unsure he can deal with a materialistic girlfriend. Was it wrong that I got him gifts? I can't understand anymore. Not the idiot. 100%. Run, OP. Either he's trying to manipulate you in this case, or he actually believes what he's spewing and is incapable of receiving some sort of kindness without assuming there are strings attached. He's abusive, and whether this is because he has suffered from mistreatment in his past or not, it is not your job to fix him. Run, take a plane, and get out. Seriously, it's not a red flag anymore. The guy painted the whole country red with flashing lights and everything. How does someone receive a gift and complain that their SO is too materialistic and manipulative? It's just a birthday gift. Not the idiot, of course. Not the idiot. So let's recap here. You buy him a game he wants, very nice, yet he gets upset over it, completely shuts down on communication, and calls you materialistic, manipulative, and says it's a wrong move? Yeah, I'm with the others. Run. That's a huge red flag. I don't even understand this logic, especially the part where he said you were trying to make him feel obligated. That's just, what? Treat this as a warning of what's to come with him, and give yourself the present of being free from that crap. That's just unreal. It could be a red flag, or it could be underlying anxiety or something. We don't know what their home life was. My nephew's dad is like this, who felt gifts were a stressful obligation. I don't know what made him feel this way, but he's entitled to how he feels. He would 100% much rather not receive anything. No, no, no. Dump him. This is disgusting behavior in his half. He is gaslighting you, and he's actually the one being manipulative. He turned your kind gesture into you feeling insecure, confused, and like you've done something horribly wrong. You deserve better.